Well, let's now go to the US. As James is saying, big week. We've seen State of the Union address, lots happening for Donald Trump. He got rid of Nikki Haley, so he is looking unstoppable for the Republican nomination following Super Tuesday. Christian Whiton joins us. Great to see you, mate. So tell us, how certain, obviously Donald Trump's looking pretty certain for the nomination, but how's he looking for the White House?
It's looking pretty good. It's surprisingly good because if you go back to 2016, Donald Trump always outperformed polls. Never was he ahead of Hillary Clinton that I recall in national polls. And if you look now, he's actually ahead of Joe Biden, both in the national poll, which represents the sort of the total vote, but also in state polls for critical swing states that are either essential to win or nice to win. States like Pennsylvania, Michigan, Arizona, Georgia, which he lost last time, didn't used to be a swing state. Ohio, that's leaned Republican more recently. Missouri has leaned more Republican recently. And so he wouldn't just win if these polls are correct and the election were held today. He would win with a resounding endorsement from the people, a popular majority. No Republican has won a majority of the popular vote since George W. Bush in 2004. But if these polls are correct, Trump might actually do it.
And incredibly, he's fracturing that African-American vote, the black vote, and winning the Hispanic vote by 6 points, the latest polling. So that's incredible in itself. But I've got to say, the Republican rebuttal to Biden's speech delivered by Katie Britt, that was underwhelming, sitting in her kitchen. I mean, why couldn't they get Ramaswamy or somebody impactful to... Well, that was a missed opportunity.
It's always a missed opportunity. Yeah, no, it was this time, but that is the curse, that speech. Almost everyone who has given that speech has had themselves diminished. It's something you should probably just cancel and do away with, or have someone respond, or several people in a spin room respond. It's just, this is the problem with going up against the bully pulpit, against the grandeur of the presidency. He's the head of the unitary executive branch, meaning all power essentially is vested in him. And especially in the setting of the State of the Union where the whole government comes together, it's just very hard for anyone to compete with that, especially sort of a neophyte that no one had actually heard of before last night or before this week, and from a very solidly Republican state where maybe your debating skills aren't quite as strong in going up against the hard left. So always an underwhelming speech, and it was underwhelming this time.
James.
Well, Christian, all of the polls are saying very good things about Trump and a Trump victory, but there's also concerns that on the ground game and on the money-raising game, that there are concerns that the Democrats could wind up having a big late surge, especially around some of that get-out-the-vote effort. What is the Trump camp and the Republican camp doing to counter particularly that really important get-out-the-vote effort, which I think Australians don't fully understand how important it is, given that compulsory voting is a thing here, whereas in America, it's getting your people to the polls. Is there an enthusiasm gap at all that you're worried about?
There doesn't seem to be an enthusiasm gap. Trump voters are fired up. The problem is that in the United States, Election Day has now become election month. It used to be if you were going to be out of town, you could send in and request an absentee ballot. You had to sign something. It had to match your signature. You may even have to go down to a local county office to initiate the procedure. Now, almost anyone in many states, and here in Colorado, we do nothing but mail-in voting. We don't have a Democrat Party machine here, so that's to our advantage. Whereas in places like California or in the city of Philadelphia, Detroit, places like that, you really worry about machines harvesting votes. The Democrats are ahead. They have more money. They're better at this. Republicans lamented this situation rather than doing what we should have done, which is just to copy it and realize that until we can maybe change laws back to having Election Day, we're stuck with this, and we have to be as good as the other side. Two things, the Trump campaign has basically just flushed the leadership at the Republican National Committee, and the new leader there has really said he's going to try and focus on this effort, and that would be a new thing for the RNC to do. The other other is just, to hit the issues and hit them hard. Joe Biden in the State of the Union led off with Ukraine. That's no one's top issue, or very few people's top issue, not even their top foreign policy issue, which is China, and the economy, inflation, the sort of general status of America and our culture. That's where Trump can hopefully make up for some of the Democrat money and organization advantage.
Christian, great to have you on. Thanks so much. We'll chat again. Lots happening this year. Lots happening there in the States. Thanks so much for coming on.